Uh-huh. Interesting. Hmm. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Trey Griggs here, Beta Consulting Group. You are here for episode, gosh, I think we're on like 82 or 83. It's a lot. We got a lot of episodes going on. Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. We're getting close to our 100th episode coming up in 2 weeks. Can't wait for that show. It's going to be great to hit the triple digit mark. And thank you for being a part of that. We appreciate you guys being here and being a part of what we are doing here at Standing Out. Some of the great guests that we've had. We had an awesome week of shows last week. This week we have an awesome week of shows as well. It's going to be tremendous. Today we got my good friend JJ Heredia on. He's going to come on here shortly. Tomorrow, my friend Dan Kopp from ITG Transportation. That guy's phenomenal. Thursday, Dusty Holcomb. Can't wait to have that guy on. He's all about servant leadership over at Red Stack Fulfillment. And then Friday we're going to end the week with another fabulous show with my good friend Brooks McMahon from Convoy. That's going to be an awesome show as well. Before we bring JJ on, though, I want to give a shout out to him and his crew over at TAFS. These are the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping their clients make sure they're educated in terms of having cash flow and resources for their finances, for discounts on fuel and tires and insurance needs and everything else that they need out there. And so we appreciate them. Check them out at TAFS.com or click on the link that's going to be in the comments today from Morgan. That goes directly to my landing page so they know that you got there from me. And get started with them today, especially if you have assets, if you're an owner operator. Make sure you reach out to them and they'll help you get started. You can also become a referral partner if you are a freight broker. Make sure that your carriers have all the assets and the resources that they need to keep those wheels moving, to keep the freight moving in this great country of ours that we have. Hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. Happy birthday to America yesterday. Hope you were able to shoot out some fireworks or maybe watch some fireworks, not get injured, and to have a good time with your family and your friends, maybe some hot dogs and some hamburgers, and enjoy the nice weather we've had recently as well. Finally, just a quick reminder, we do have a swag store now, so check it out. We got these nice coffee mugs and water bottles and all kinds of great things. So run on over to shop.betaconsultinggroup.com. Be a part of what we're doing here at Standing Out. Grab one of these items or a t-shirt or whatever else we have over there. And it is our kickoff week for this swag store. So use the coupon code beta-go, beta grand opening, to get 30% off your entire order. We appreciate it. Glad to have you part of this community, what we're doing here at Standing Out and everything we're doing at Beta Consulting Group. So again, coupon code BETA. Actually, it's beta-go. We updated it for 30% off because we went up because this is the actual first launch. So we got to update that, but it's beta-go. And you can get 30% off of your entire order, which is cool. All right, let's bring on JJ to talk about some things, all things factoring and truck drivers as well, and what's going on in his world. Good friend of mine out of Kansas City. Everybody, please welcome to the show my friend JJ Heredia. JJ, what's up, brother?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Dude, how are you, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing well, A little tired from the weekend. Just got back from Laredo, and then had to take the wife to the lake. You got to make her happy too.
Got to make up for it. That's right, because you're traveling a lot, man. You're on the road a lot.
Yeah.
How many days out of the year do you think you're on the road? What would you guess? Do you have it written down anywhere? What's your thought?
I would say at least half.
At least half of
the
business days.
Yeah, business days.
So 125 a year. You're on the road. That's a road warrior for sure.
Yeah, it is hotel and road warrior, and unfortunately, I have really good sleep habits at home, really bad sleep habits at hotels because I love my pillow and I spend $150 on a good tempered pillow, and they don't get those in hotels, so it makes it very difficult.
Hey, listen, let me give you a little life hack. I started taking my pillow on road trips about 4 months ago. 7 months ago. Changed my life. So here's what you do. You just get a slightly bigger suitcase than you're normally taking, and you put your pillow on one side and all your clothes on the other. And I'm telling you, you will always have good sleep, because a bad bed with a good pillow, money. You'll never be the same.
I would do that. It's just that I would do that, Trey, just that my pillow weighs like 15 pounds because it's a brick.
That's true. It might be overweight if you go that route. But
I'm a big guy. If you could see the clothes, and then with a big pillow, I'd have to have a really big suitcase called an airplane. So,
well, I'll tell you, man, it's changed my life. I'm just saying, if you throw it out there, I can do 2 nights with a bad pillow, but
yeah, it's tough.
it's really, really tough. So
it takes a little bit to get used to, but
it's brutal without that. Okay, so you're COO at Taft's, and you're also leading the sales team there. First of all, thank you for partnering with what we're doing here at Beta Consulting Group. We love connecting with you guys. One of my favorite things about Taft's is that you guys are really all about educating drivers and making sure they have the resources that they need. As I talk about, whenever we talk about you guys on the show, what was your draw to Taft's? And what do you love about it? You've been there for a while. Building this culture and building this movement. Talk a little bit about what you love about Taft's and what you love about working with truck drivers.
People. I mean, people are interesting. You get to learn a lot about everybody's upbringing. That's from in office to out of office, right? The experiences are all different. And I think at the end of the day, people want to do really good. It's just that they don't have a starting place. Taft's, we'd like to give them a starting place, and freight industry is already difficult enough. And there's people that don't want to partner because they think you're a competition. In my eyes, you're the only competition for yourself. So I always tell them, don't focus on what other people are doing. Focus on what you're doing to actually be better, and empowering yourself, knowing where to go to get some good podcast information that's going to give you good information to take you to the next level. Everybody knows how to drive a truck, but there's marketing involved for your companies, right? So what does that marketing look like? What is the sales technique? Because you have to sell yourself to somebody to give them better deals or give them more consistent deals, right? What tools are they utilizing to best fit their partner's needs? So there's a lot that we do that I don't think a lot of other people focus on, and that's what we're trying to do. And I hope that others start doing what we do, because now I can say the movement was started by Taft's, right? So that's a plug for ourselves.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I love the fact that it really is all about people. I was just talking to a friend of mine recently on the Life by the Mile podcast about drivers. Every time that a driver talks to a freight broker, every time a driver pulls into a shipping dock, a loading and receiving dock, all those things go to building their brand and their marketing. How do people feel about working with them? Do they want to keep working with him? What's the thought process? So there's a lot more than just driving the truck, like you said. And I love that, Taft's, you guys are all about helping them have what they need. So, like a small guy, 1 truck, 2 trucks, 3 truck operation, they don't have the buying power for fuel. They don't have the buying power for tires. They don't have the buying power for insurance. And it's hard to get small business loans and different things like that. When you guys look at your business model, I really feel like you've taken a look and said, what does a trucker need? Let's try to make that happen. And if we can't do it, let's surround ourselves with people who can make that happen. Talk about the power of building a network, of building an alliance of partners that can help the driver holistically.
I mean, there's so many different avenues for trucking. So, I mean, for fuel partners, right, you got to find a network that's actually going to work for a client, but they have to see why that network's the best deal. I'll give you an example. There's 3 major providers out there. You got TA Petro, you got Love's, and you got Pilot. How does TA Petro compete with those 2 larger fuel stops when they're so much smaller? Well, I always say that your trucks need servicing, right? They actually have service centers, and that goes with Love's too. They have Speedco, which also offers services. So if you're trying to knock out fuel and services on your trucks like PMs that you need to do on a regular basis, that's a place to go. So why not make it a one-stop shop? Look for discounts that way. A lot of people forget that TA Petros offers those discounts. They want to bring you in. But that goes to the cost of your business, right? Aligning yourself with those partners for reasons. And what are the reasons? One, you just knocked out some time, right? And then also you knocked out discounts with fuel. Can you get discounts for tires? Can you get discounts for services? And so when you're aligning yourself with partners, they don't have to be the biggest. They have to have the same attitude that you do, right? Attitude and thought process are big when it comes to partners. I don't want to be the biggest. I want to be the best, because when you're the best, you'll be the biggest at some point. So aligning and finding those strategic partners in everything from tire situation, ELD situations, even influencers. I know that we partner with you, which we appreciate. You have you have a great support system. You're a great support system for ourselves. But finding those people that could actually take your brand awareness, because brand awareness is big, just like for Beta Consulting, it's very important, right? So we appreciate these type of partnerships, and even bringing in other partnerships that we don't have. We invite them and ask, hey, what can we do together? Because we might have a commonality that we didn't know about.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. I love being in those meetings with many people that I've met through TAFs, through the partnership, and through what you guys are doing. You can just tell that there really is an emphasis and a prioritization on providing what a driver needs, and just making sure that they have what they need. What do you feel like are the biggest challenges right now for truck drivers and truck driving in the current economy? What are you kind of seeing out there? You're on the road a lot. You're in Laredo, super hot in Laredo, but you're there. It's like, what are you hearing? What are you reading? What are you hearing from truck drivers and from companies about what the big challenges are right now?
So biggest challenges right now is fuel cost, and what's going on with that. When you see an increase in fuel cost, at that point you'll see a decrease of purchasing from the outside. So you and I will purchase less because now we have to worry about more fuel cost, right? And what does that do to the demand of a driver? Well, the demand goes down, right? And fuel costs going up, so rates go down. So your cost is going up, rates going down. Some point there's a breaking point, right? What is that breaking point for everybody? And that's what we're starting to see right now. It becomes very, very difficult to manage a business. And that's why I reach out to brokers and say, hey, understanding that, the market switched, you still have to understand that there's people behind those trucks, and not even those trucks, but I think people forget families, right? And the families that they support. So are they supporting a family of two? Are they supporting a family of three? What are they doing behind the scenes to help their families, right? So I always say, keep that in mind when you're going out and negotiating rates. And I know business is business, but understanding that things can flip at any time, and finding the right partners will align you in the future when things flip back around, because in trucking, it always happens.
Yeah, I think the freight brokers that do the best are the ones that see that long view and really see the driver as a partner. And it's tough because, if you think about gas or, fuel costs right now, it's $6 a gallon in some places for diesel, $5.50, $6 a gallon. That's like $1 a mile because they only get about 5-6 miles to the gallon. It's like $1 a mile just for fuel. And if you're only paying $1.50 for, per mile for a lane, there's not much money left, in that rate. And so it's just, kind of understanding that. What do you think, is going to happen here, coming up soon? We think about truck drivers, that breaking point, like you talked about. Do you think there's going to be consolidation? Because a lot of these drivers bought their trucks at pretty high prices, the new entrants. The last year they bought, at elevated prices, and those loans are going to be pretty challenging. What do you kind of forecast or see as being, how is this going to play out?
That's a good question. With the pandemic, there's been a lot of unknowns. Freight rates dropped when the pandemic hit, and then July hit, boom, they blew up. Right, everybody started buying everything. The housing market went insane. There's a lot of unknowns right now. We in the past were able to track based off like history and what would happen. These last few years, it's been very difficult to do so because there's been so many changes. But one of the big changes that happened is the cost of like a tractor, right, or even a trailer. You used to be able to get a brand new trailer for $25,000 to $30,000 a month. Now they're $85,000 a month, or not a month,
per unit,
right?
Yeah.
So you look at that cost and you say, okay, going from 25 to 80,000, your freight rates now have to indicate that. But if the freight rates are dropping, what happens to that trailer and truck, right? So people are selling the trucks back to the banks. Banks don't know what to do with them. So what does the infrastructure look like that from the economy standpoint? Those are all questions that are unknown, but I know the more people that go out of business, the more trucks there's going to be available, and then the market will flip again, but somebody's going to win out. And I'll tell you, big companies, people are merging right now. They're merging because they're trying to get better fuel discounts, or somebody has a customer base that actually needs to move freight. When I was in Laredo, it's funny how the market changes from different areas. Chicago to Laredo, very, very different market. Every customer or prospect I talked to said that they had tons of freight. And I asked one of our larger carriers out there that has a few hundred trucks, I asked, why are so many people struggling with freight? And he goes, it's because these loads are going into warehousing. And I said, why are they going into warehousing? He goes, people don't want to move it for the fuel price at what it is, right? So they're holding on to product. I don't know the truth of that because I have to ask around. But I talked to another carrier when I was in Los Angeles a week and a half ago. He actually has a warehousing, and his customers told him that they didn't want any product to move, so he increased the cost of his warehousing. He has 400 trucks total, but they don't want to move it, and it's because the freight rates would be too high, which I don't disagree. When your product goes up or your fuel goes up to $6 a mile, then your rates are going to have to go up to $8 a mile just to make up for it. And what does that mean for the consumer, right?
Yeah, we're seeing that. Yeah,
When
across the
does it
board.
end? When does it
Yeah.
end?
It's such an interesting market because there are some indicators that there's a lot of strength in the market, and then there's some indicators that they're not. Warehouses seem pretty full, inventories seem pretty full. But yet now we see more boats coming from China, more
Mm-hmm.
cargo ships that are bringing more
Right.
freight over. I mean, it's really kind of fascinating, the consumer economy that we have, and are people going to keep buying? House rates, mortgage rates went through the roof, so now housing's changing a little bit. People might not move. Maybe they'll stay where they're at. Maybe that'll provide them some more money to buy more stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
There's just a lot of factors. It's just one of the most interesting economies that we've kind of seen ourselves in, and for the truck driver, it's just a lot of unknowns because of the cost of everything. It's just
And we
kind of
see
crazy.
that people that are getting their authorities versus how many people are getting their authorities before the change to like right now.
Mhm.
It's slowed down quite a bit, and there's a reason why is because people don't know, and so they don't want to get into something that's very volatile. It's just like I'll give you an example: Bitcoin, right? It's super volatile. One moment it's 60,000, the next it's 20. It's like, when do I get in? When do I sell
Right.
out?
Right.
Same trucking. Yeah, I say it's just as volatile. And one of the things that I wish people would like work together on is the consistency. Every part in trucking helps the economy some way. And if somebody's at home with no job and they're in trucking, it's not good for the economy. When
Yeah.
they're out pumping and moving freight, it's good for the economy. I look at a lot of statistics on a regular basis. I always see that prices of fuel dictate the economy. And it's just like, why aren't people trying to fix something that dictates this? There's a correlation somehow. In 2012, freight prices went up through the roof and freight went straight down. Maybe it's the same reason people were holding on and people were buying stuff, but the warehouses aren't releasing them. So it's just
Yeah.
like, why? So
Yeah.
what's the solution? And so we have to find a solution, but everybody has their own mentality of what needs to get done. And I think if we all come together, you put the right people in the right scenarios or even the right rooms, I think we could find something that would be beneficial for everybody.
It's such a challenge right now, and I've noticed ordering online that things are taking significantly longer to show up now. The
Right.
whole Amazon 1 day, 2 day thing, they kind of backed off on that a little bit. You don't hear 'em, bragging about that as much anymore than as what they were previously. All right, I want to switch real quick to talk about sales a little bit because
Yeah.
you're somebody who's been very successful in sales. You're leading a sales organization, but you're on the road a lot. I want you to talk a little bit about this transition that happened in the pandemic, where prior to the pandemic, we were out visiting customers. We were on the road a lot. Pandemic slowed that down. You're back on the road full time. A lot of your partners, at TAFs are joining you on the road.
Right.
Doing mutual sales calls together. Talk about what that's like. The power of being, in person for sales compared to what we had to do for about a year and a half, which was more virtual. Obviously, I think you prefer the in person. Talk about the power of that.
I think it just builds trust. They know who you are, right? Over the phone, you're just another person over the phone. And I think when you actually take time for somebody and you try to find out or even help what their current situation is, I think people like that. And I have carriers, not clients, carriers that call me on a regular basis and they say, hey, we want to do business with you. Right now is not the time. But I still talk to them. And the reason why I talk to them is because even though they're not my client, I still want to help them. Why? And I want to see them. There's a reason why. Just like right now, my phone just rang. One of the guys that he doesn't do business with me, but he's referring me business. And it's because he knew me, he knows me, and he knows my team. But it's one of those things that I think it becomes very settling. And one of the combos that I hear a lot is, I've been with so and so for so much time, and they've never come out to see me. And I'm not even a client, and you're out here having dinner with me, and we're sharing ideas. So putting people together in a room is better than putting people on the phone. Even podcasts, I think podcasts are great, right? If you put people in a room, podcasts, I think the conversation and the energy changes. Putting people together is there's just so much more energy than being on a phone call on a podcast. And I've seen a lot of different podcasts that have people in a group, and I've seen podcasts that don't. And you can see the energy, and there's more involvement, and you could actually read people's faces. And I think that's where the trust comes in. And so being in front of people really helps clarify that trust. And I'll tell you what, it's hard to lie to somebody's face when you're in front of them.
It is. There's a lot.
Somebody's
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. And it's interesting you say that people say, well, this person hasn't even come to see me yet. It's still kind of a mark of, and it's an investment, right? It's an investment, commitment of time and resources to do that. I've noticed on our Friday, Word on the Street podcast that we have, even though we have 10 people together, there's a lot of energy and it's fun. But when we actually get to do it in person, which we've done a couple of times, I've actually had people with me in Vegas or whatever, the energy is different.
It is.
And so there's something to be said about just the value still of taking the time to go see somebody in person. Technology's allowed us to do a lot of the legwork. I think on the front end, you can have a video call, but if you go and spend time with people, I think it really solidifies your like how much you care about them, how much you're interested in working with them, the trust level for sure. All of that just still matters in sales.
It does. It does. And when you put people in a room, kind of like what you were saying, there's a lot more energy. When you put a lot of salespeople in a room, there's no quiet time. Everybody's chatting about something. But that's the fun that I like because sales is fun. And I think people forget that. I've seen people in different companies, not just factory, that are friends that they don't enjoy being with people. I enjoy it, but I'm also exhausted. So there's a 2-part series to it, right? And it's just like, why am I exhausted? Well, emotionally, I gave everything to that person because I want to make sure that they're taken care of. And I think when you walk away and you're tired and you want to go to your bed or you can't wait to be home to be on your pillow or next to your wife, right? I think that says a lot about what you like and who you like and what you do as an individual, right? And I love what I do. The clientele, the carriers, and the people that support me are amazing. They give me the energy to get back every day. And right now, we're spending a lot of time with clients. I introduced some of our clients to some really good connections out of the down south, which is Mexico, with some direct freight. Nobody does that. Nobody. Everybody wants to hold that because they don't want to share it, but I do because if they're successful, I'm successful, then they're going to help somebody else. And luckily, I've been in groups or with clients that have helped so many other carriers besides themselves. And I think that's what drew their success.
I want to talk about that in just a minute, but a real quick question. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? How would you categorize
yourself? I become an introvert after I've been on the road for 7 days. I just, like I said, I went from LA to Laredo, then went to Lake House, and my wife's like, you really just want to be home? I was like, yeah, I don't want to be around anybody, around so many people. So I'm an extrovert. Normally. Yeah. Now, like I said, after a whole week of being out and about, I become an introvert. It's kind of weird. I just want to be with my family or at home or just watching a TV show. It's crazy because I never used to do that. Now I just want to sit and watch. I watched Stranger Things. Yesterday I started it, and now I'm like hooked. I'm on episode 8, but it's because
that's impressive.
That was all yesterday. So you could tell that my day was consumed with just watching that show. My wife was there, my kids were there.
Yeah.
And, they were just in the background, but they know to give me that me time because I need to re-energize. And I appreciate that. That's why I took my wife to the lake right away because I knew she needed some JJ time as well. So But I think everybody's a little bit of both in the right situations.
Well, it's clear that you love what you do, but what's interesting is you're an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I'm the opposite. When I go on like a business trip and I spend time with people, I get jacked up. I can't go to sleep. I get so much energy out of that, but I don't think it matters if you're an introvert or an extrovert in sales. I think the common misconception is that you have to be an extrovert. I think the biggest thing is you have to love people and you want to help them, because sales is really education. It's all about helping people, solving a problem, giving them a resource that makes their life or their business or whatever, better. And so to me, the critical component is people. It's not extrovert or introvert. It's people. If you love people, then sales is a great opportunity. And like you said, you just have to figure out how to unwind. For me,
Right.
I got to figure out how to turn it off, because I come back from a sales trip, man, and I got tons of energy, and I have to kind of turn it down a little bit. But the love for people, I think, is really the value of sales, is of a salesperson and what they bring.
I agree. I think you could be either and be successful as long as you have the commonality of or the common ground to want to help people, right? I think if you have that in mind, I think you could be really, really good, and I think it'll show and it'll rub off the right way. But it's about loving people, because you do have to love to be around them, and I think that's where I'm at. Is I actually love to be around people and help people, but at the same time, it's tiring.
It's exhausting.
It draws.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And that self-awareness is critical. Like having, just being self-aware of kind of what you need, what helps you become successful is really, really critical to that. But man, loving people is so important. When helping people, it's so important in sales. I go back to the quote that Zig Ziglar said a long time ago. He said, "You can have everything in you want in life if you help enough people get what they want in life." And to me, that kind of corresponds to sales. You help people get what they want. You don't have to worry about yourself. You'll be taken care of.
Everything will be taken care of.
That's right. Focus on helping other people, and what they're doing. All right. So we're coming up on the close of our time here, JJ. I appreciate you being on the show. We got some really exciting things coming up. I'm excited to partner with you guys because I love being in the room. In fact, we got to be in the room like 2 weeks ago. I think it was in the room with some partners and start talking about ideas. I can't wait to announce some of the things that are coming up, some of the things we're putting together. It's probably going to be another couple of weeks to a month before we get it out there. But I'm super excited to help truck drivers. My dad was a local truck driver in Kansas City, right there where you are, pretty close to Olathe. And I got to see, the truck driving world from more of a local perspective growing up, and just have mad respect for the people who get behind a truck and move the freight. And truthfully, everything is supply chain. We just can't get away from it. Trucking is really kind of the backbone of our entire economy, and how we function in the consumer-driven society. Without the product, there's not a whole lot to offer. So
it's scary. That. It's scary.
It is kind of scary.
No baby formula, no transportation. It's scary.
It is. It's crazy. We've made it a global supply chain. So now we're dependent upon food from other countries and products from other countries and things like that, and even products from different parts of this country. So even just the things that are manufactured here, like auto parts. I took my car to the Honda dealership a couple weeks ago, and there's something they couldn't fix because they didn't have the parts. So I mean, even simple things like just a small bolt or auto parts that we need. It's critical for truck drivers. So I'm excited because we're going to launch some things dedicated to truck drivers. And I appreciate you guys just letting me be a part of what you guys are doing at TAFS. It's a special place with special people. Real quick, tell everybody your tagline at TAFS. What do you talk about when you talk about truck drivers and truck driving?
Just be noble, be respectful, be mindful.
Truck driving is a noble profession, and truck drivers are noble people.
And that's the truth. Remember, I always tell anybody that's watching this, I always tell people this. Imagine yourself in a box for 10 hours a day, and then somebody pulls in front of you. It's not the coolest feeling. So hopefully that nobody does that moving forward. My wife's she's like, oh, there's a spot right in front of the truck. I'm like, don't do that, because 40,000 pounds coming through the back of our heads isn't fun. Respect them, respect the road. And make sure you thank a driver. I see a lot of people out for like military. I support our military 100%. They always thank them, and it's because there's a purpose. But I don't see a lot of people thank people for like their food on the table, right? Or their ear pods, or their kids' clothes, right? Thank a driver. Because I think it's really big. If you focus in and thank them, you'll really appreciate that, and I think you'll change their day.
100%. That's one of my reasons why whenever I'm traveling long term, I stop at truck stops. I don't stop at gas stations. I try to find a truck stop, go up and say thank you. Or I haven't done this yet, but I've been thinking about this a lot. Go buy them a meal. Go give them something to say thank you. Like that changed their day, because you're right. We thank people for their service, their military service, which is totally appropriate. But a lot of times we forget to say thank you for things like truck drivers. And so again, love what you guys are doing. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. We're going to go ahead and jump off of here, but I hope you'll come back and be on the show soon.
Yeah. We'll keep in touch. Obviously, we have some big things. We want to bring other people. So connect us with the right people to make sure that we launch our ideas and put everything in play the right way. So
Absolutely. And everybody else, thanks for watching. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Make sure you come back tomorrow for an interview with Dan Kopp. He's a CEO of ITG Transportation in Chicago. Great guy, phenomenal leader. Can't wait to have that interview tomorrow. And make sure you come back every day at 10:30 for another episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. You guys have a fabulous day.